Once we have a basic understanding of the six sense doors, we can use them as a gateway into our Vipassana meditation practice. You'll find out how on today's Meditation Monday. Hello, Rob Phillips here, and welcome to another edition of Meditation Monday, where every single Monday I give you a new guided meditation that you can try out at home. So for today's meditation, we are going to dive a little bit deeper into the six sense doors that I discussed in my earlier video. Now, if you haven't seen that video or you don't really know what the six sense doors are, I highly recommend checking that out first. If you have some understanding of the six sense doors and you feel good to go, you're in the right place. Finally, here I'll put a timestamp down below if you want to jump right into the guided meditation. Now, for today's practice, we're going to be using the six sense doors as a way to begin noting Vipassana practice. Now, this is a type of practice that's most associated with the Burmese meditation teacher Mahasi Sayadaw, and he was highly influential for many Western teachers. And if you do a meditation retreat at most of the major centers in the US today, there's a strong chance that you'll learn some version of this technique. Now, the basic idea of this is for any moment that we're experiencing, we apply what we would call a note or a label. And this is simply the idea of whatever we're experiencing, we name it. We say what it is. Now, for this specific practice, we're going to be using the six sense doors as what we are labeling. So, for example, if you're noticing something in the body, that's the sense of touch, right? So you would say to yourself, touching, touching. Now, I'm saying it out loud, of course, but generally when you're meditating, you're going to be quiet and kind of saying it to yourself. Now, having said that, learning to do this out loud can be really useful. And in fact, for the guided meditation, we're going to be exploring that just a little bit. And of course, I started with touching, but we have all of our other senses. So if we notice light coming in through the eyes, we would note seeing. If a sound enters our ear, we would say hearing, smelling, tasting. And for this practice, just to keep things simple, literally anything that arises within the mind, we're going to say thinking. So when we put this all together, we get kind of the full spectrum of all of our various senses and how they come together in each moment. Now, when we do this, if we just kind of open up to everything, that can be a little jarring, right? It can be a little unsettling. So that's where we use an anchor. So for our practice, we're going to use kind of the classic anchor, which is anchoring on the movements of the breath in the abdomen. So you'll feel your breath in the belly as it comes and goes, and we'll also apply a label to that. So the labels we'll use are rising on the inhale breath and falling on the exhale breath. So in case that was all a little confusing getting kind of thrown out at you there, I'm going to do, just kind of in real time out loud, a demo of what this practice might feel like. Rising, hearing, seeing, hearing, touching, falling, hearing, rising, seeing, touching, and so on and so forth. So that was just a very short demo, of course, and we're going to have a little more time to explore this in the guided meditation. I'd say if you're brand new to this, kind of a tempo like I did is good, about 1 note per second. We don't need to note each and everything right away. The main idea for this practice is just to get a basic handle on the concept of what this practice feels like. So if you're ready to try this here, I recommend finding a comfortable seat, someplace you can be more or less quiet for about 15 minutes or so. So let's close our eyes and get right into it. Now, as we start our guided meditation, we'll be using this as an opportunity to apply really everything I just talked about in the introduction. So in the most basic sense, applying a note or a label to whatever sense door we are experiencing most prominently in this moment. At first, we'll do this out loud, and then we'll do this quietly internally noticing our own experience for whatever it might be. Before we get into that, though, establishing a nice solid posture, one where you feel some lift up through the spine, then also some softness through the shoulders. And with your eyes closed, at first simply noticing what it's like to be here. Noticing how the body feels, opening up, of course, to all of your other senses as well. Remembering the meditation and all the various techniques we use are all just tools so that we can feel more present in this moment. Now, having established our posture, beginning to tune the awareness a bit more directly into our abdomen. And within the abdomen, noticing the movements of our breath. Noting how there's a lift or a rise of the abdomen as you inhale. Noting how there's a softening or a falling of the abdomen on your exhale. And this anchoring with the breath will be the overall anchor for this practice. It will be what we keep coming back to again and again. And to begin the process of our labeling, for now internally to yourself, with each rise and fall of the breath, beginning to note, rising on your inhale, falling on your exhale, again and again, just applying the simple label, beginning to use our inner monologue to acknowledge what our experience is. Now, even in just the minute or so that we've been exploring this, you may notice, despite the intention to anchor with the breath, the awareness and the mind will have moved to our other sense doors, almost guaranteed. So here is where we can start to use our overall label of the 6 sense doors that we discussed in the introduction. So, starting the process here, still intending to stick with the breath, but if, for example, a sound enters through the ear, in that moment you would note hearing. If you become aware of light passing through the eyelids, you might note seeing. If any sort of thought, feeling, memory, anything within the mind arises, you might note thinking. So whenever a sense object arrives through any of our 6 sense doors, we make the quiet mental note. And then we return back to the rise and fall of our breath. Now, if it makes sense for where we are practicing, I'd encourage us for the next several minutes here to actually do our labeling out loud, just as I showed in my demonstration. The exact same labels you would be saying to yourself, simply vocalizing them very quietly. Again and again, whatever sense experience we're having, we label it. But then again and again, returning back to the movements of breath at our abdomen. I'd recommend a tempo just about 1 note per second, give or take. Not too fast, not too slow. For just another minute or so here, experimenting with labeling out loud via the 6 sense doors. And now that we've established a bit of momentum, a bit of consistency with our noting out loud, taking the practice back internally, so internally using our inner voice to note or label whatever sense door is arising, but still anchoring with the rise and fall in our abdomen, coming back there again and again as might be needed. A simple yet powerful practice to maintain presence. Whatever sense you're experiencing, simply label it again and again. Continuing to anchor with the breath in the belly as the home base. If you feel you've lost your focus, drifted into thought or drowsiness, remembering to simply start again with the next breath, to simply start again noting whatever your next experience might be. Remembering as well to keep the body relaxed, to keep that sense of calm, even in this more applied sort of practice. And so here, just by noting, just by labeling our experience again and again, we start to notice just how constantly changing our environment is. We begin to notice more and more the tendency of the mind to drift. But with time and practice, this can become almost subconscious. We really learn to experience all of our six sense doors with that much more clarity in each moment. And that is the essence of our insight or Vipassana meditation practice. So here now, just taking a few more moments, I'd encourage you to bring awareness back to the body, back to the physical form, noting how your state of mind may have shifted over the last 15 minutes or so. Take a gentle inhale breath through the nose and a gentle exhale breath out your mouth, bowing the chin towards the chest, and you might slowly open your eyes. Thank you so very much for joining me for this guided noting meditation using the six sense doors. If you enjoyed this practice, please be sure to click like and subscribe. If you have any questions or thoughts, absolutely let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so very much.